Now, I'm not gonna lie, this video does not need to be at the minimum 8-minute mark to get multiple ads, because this conversation really doesn't need to be too long. But I will say there are many layers to this that I do feel allow me the opportunity to extend it a little bit, so if this video is past the 8-minute mark, then hey, I apologize, I am just trying to earn a living out here. But either way, we're talking about a Red Wings topic that might not be all too significant depending on who you ask, but whose importance definitely might be felt by others instead. We're going over to the Grand Rapids Griffins once again and talking about a name that has been one of the more polarizing players added to this squad. He was added via waivers a few days ago, he cleared, and now he is in Grand Rapids for a conditioning stint that is going to last longer than the specified amount of time initially given to him. Let's talk about Jakub Vrana once again, because this is a video not going over the clearing of Vrana, not going over the future of Vrana, not going over Stevie Y and his plan, but instead going over what exactly has been going on with Vrana recently in Grand Rapids. Take a look at this tweet made by Gauthier from yesterday, going over how the Griffins game day preview was released on their Twitter account. However, in this media release, we had ourselves a very interesting tidbit of information saying that Jakub Vrana had been scratched, so the Griffins could bring in Kyle Criscuolo. Now, this transaction at face value seemed like the end of the world to some Red Wings fans who were looking at the Griffins and saying, wait a minute, Jakub Vrana's getting scratched? What the hell? This guy's playing that poorly in the AHL that now he's getting scratched from that team? Is the AHL not supposed to be a developmental league? Are you not supposed to go there for the purpose of getting better? If you are so bad that you are at a position where you can't even play in the farm team, what in the world does that mean for the Red Wings? And there was a lot of people kind of freaking out, asking, hey, are we supposed to freak out about this? Is this a really bad sign? Is this as bad as I think it might be? And to answer the question, I really don't know. Like, that is, to me, all we could really deal with here, because as Gauthier did say, this was a scratch made so that the Griffins could bring back Kyle Criscuolo. Now, if you want to understand why that is, this is the comment thread in the Red Wings subreddit. Drop That Sugar says, someone tell me how to feel about this. or how is that username pronounced? Dan Angle, that's what it is. Please add some capitals to your name. But either way, Dan Angle says it's the AHL veteran rule probably, and a few of the vets have been sitting in the last few games. There could be more to this, but at the same time, a lot of teams rotate through their veterans in the AHL, so it could also mean nothing. Also, this could always just be a maintenance day or something. Now, just in case you needed clarification on what the AHL veteran rule is, of the 18 skaters in an AHL lineup, only 6 of these guys can have played in more than 260 career pro games. This changed in 2019. Now, for the context of the leagues, I'm just going to assume that 260 career professional games means NHL. Sure, AHL is technically pro hockey, but if you're counting AHL games as professional games, there would be guys that had to get removed from the AHL if they played more than 260 games, so I don't really think that's correct, is it not? But either way, this rule is put in place so that NHL teams can't just go out there and send a whole bunch of veterans into the AHL in order to win an AHL championship. Now, there is a lot of other obstacles that would pop up in a situation like that, the waivers, the clearing, etc., etc., but at the end of the day, the AHL is a developmental league, so there isn't really an incentive to allow multiple guys who have played so many games at the NHL level, but you are allowed to have a few. And Kyle Criscuolo is somebody that would apparently fulfill those conditions. Now, there also are some doomers out there saying that this entire thing is just kind of an indicator as to how poorly Vrana has played, and there are a few comments on this thread saying that he's looked really bad as a member of the Griffins and he's looked really ineffective. Those are the words being thrown around there. Some are saying confidence issues, others are saying he has lost his touch, but then again, there is the perspective saying that we don't really have the right to speculate why that is. Like, whatever Vrana was going through that put him in the Players Assistance Program and allowed him to return, sure, it's an amazing story to see him come back, but once you spend so much time away from the game, once you have all the stuff that Vrana had happen to him where he's deleting Red Wings material on his social media, I mean, it's really not our place to go out there and say, oh, this happened or that happened, that's why he is not playing well or whatever. Like, you just gotta give the guy time to develop properly. And unfortunately, in the AHL, that hasn't really been happening to the extent that you would probably expect. 1 point, 6 games played, he's a minus on the season, or not on the season, but on the stint he has had so far in Grand Rapids, and getting scratched doesn't make things feel any better. So, of course, for Red Wings fans going out there and monitoring what it is that Vrana has shown off so far, this is a red flag, but it isn't one that you can raise all the way to the top of the sails. You could kind of maybe settle it up halfway, maybe 30% of the way up the sail, because there are still some extenuating circumstances that you could use to justify this even being a proper move. Okay, maybe it is just the veteran rule. Maybe they're just rotating some guys around and they do this all the time, and Vrana happens to be the odd man out. Maybe it doesn't have to do with the fact that he's got 1 point in 6 games and that he, quote-unquote, has been completely ineffective in the minds of some Red Wings fans, but of course, I unfortunately am not watching too many Grand Rapids Griffins games, so if you have been, please let me know in the comments, how has Jakub Vrana looked in the 6-game sample he has had so far, and do you see promise? That's the biggest thing that I want to acknowledge in the comment section. Is there still shades or inklings of the guy that Vrana had been in the past, where he was a very good, very talented point-producing machine in the limited sample he had in Detroit? We had talked about this a few videos ago, but the guy has played so few games for the Red Wings ever since getting acquired 2 years ago in 2021. So with injuries, with departures from the team, I could understand that there's definitely a little bit more humps to go over, but the entire time Vrana has been in the lineup, he has been effective. It's just now so in the AHL that unfortunately has not been the case. Now, just to end off this video, I wanted to go over one more idea that might not be all too bad, but at the same time, I wanted to save this till the end because I don't really think this is a good thing to talk about at this time. 75623 wrote in the comment section of the Red Wings thread, the worst case is this ends in a buyout, which is not as bad as I thought it would be. $1.4 million in 2023-2024 for a cap savings of $3.8 million and a 1.9 AAV in 24-25. I'm still hoping for some kind of Vrana redemption arc here. The reply asks the question, does this not extend into years past 25-24, or 24-25, excuse me. I'm not familiar with the buyout calculations. Resnor Wings then says, if the Red Wings let him play in Grand Rapids for the remainder of the season and then buy him out in the offseason, it's only a 1-year buyout. Calculations are 2/3 of the salary spread over twice the term, so as stated above, it would be 2 out of 3 of $5.25 million, roughly 3.5 over the next 2 years. And so, this idea, let's say he doesn't actually get it back together. All the hope that we had, unfortunately, is for not. Let's say that that's what happens. I mean, the Red Wings do have an out. It would be a very unfortunate way to go out, especially when you consider that Vrana was the return in the Mantha trade, but still, this is an option here, and it's one that I didn't want to bring up until the very end of the video because I feel like almost every Red Wings fan who watches the team and knows what's going on with this team, everybody wants to see this guy succeed. Nobody wants to see him go down in the dumps. We're all on his side here. And so it's better for everybody if Vrana goes out there and improves to the point where he is a capable middle to top 6 scorer on the main Red Wing squad as well. But talk to the comments your thoughts about him getting scratched yesterday for the Griffins. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.